We do only have 11 fights on this card, a couple of unfortunate drops. And when they're all the way in Saudi Arabia, it is not as easy for them to go ahead and get those last-minute replacements. They're really relying on corners that might be there for a different fighter, because pulling people in is not quite as easy on the other side of the planet as when they're over here or when they're in Las Vegas in their normal backyard. Luckily, this fight remains, because I do think this can be entertaining. We have Muhammad Naimov taking on Kaan Ofli in the UFC Saudi Arabia opener. Muhammad Naimov, 11-3 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He is coming off that submission loss to Felipe Lima. Taking on Kaan Ofli, 11-3 in his career as well, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that knockout loss in his UFC debut. And this is an interesting fight because Muhammad Naimov, squarely the favorite here, talented guy, pretty well-rounded. He wants to strike, but he can wrestle. He's fast, he's athletic, old-school martial arts kind of striking. He does like to plot forward. He'll throw in combinations. If he closes that distance, he's going to clinch you up. He'll strike from there. He'll actually defend takedowns early in a fight and then start shooting them later if he doesn't have the success he thought he was going to on the feet. He will shoot offensively. He's coming off the submission loss to Felipe Lima, where he was a little bit chinny, but he did also have a little bit of success early. He's taking on Kaan Ofli, a BJJ black belt. Takedowns are just okay. The striking is just okay. He's busy on the ground. He's always looking for something. He's not the longest guy in the division, so he does rely on strength to control the positions, to try to work in sweeps. He has offensive takedowns as well, but he can be taken down if he sticks to a wrestling game plan. He's a short, compact guy who can be hard to move around. He's coming off that knockout loss to Marlon Santos, where he moved forward, he was trying to grapple, but he did get cracked. Muhammad Naimov should win this fight. I mentioned earlier, I was thinking about parlaying him with Terrence McKinney. He can wrestle. He's got good hands. But the odds just keep getting trickier because there's always something up with a Muhammad Naimov fight. He was losing against Jamie Mullarkey before catching him in the second round. He had foul after foul against Nathaniel Wood. The win over Eric Silva was literally a fluke injury. And in his last fight, he was getting dropped left and right. Then he gassed and then subbed. He should win here, and I think he wins because Kaan Ofli is just too one-dimensional, and Muhammad Naimov has at least multiple dimensions. So Muhammad Naimov is going to be the pick, but maybe I'm just starting to like these guys more and more because this card is tricky and the values going places. What do you think, Sammy baby?
Well, first of all, I had this matchup penciled out like weeks and weeks ago. This was the match where I was 100% confident. Muhammad Naimov is one of my more prominent figures that shows up in my betting slips. I always bet on Muhammad Naimov because this dude can do it all, and he's not that pretty doing it. So often his odds are, they're not juiced. He's not very popular in the public eye. He doesn't really have that much personality. So people aren't catching on that Muhammad Naimov can fucking do everything. His wrestling reversals are good. His wrestling takedowns are good. His striking defense is solid, and he has sneaky power. This dude, he knocked out Jamie Mullarkey in a fight where Jamie Mullarkey thought that he was starting to gain some footing, and then just ended up absolutely ruined. And that was before Mullarkey was known for being such a chinny merchant as well. Muhammad Naimov dropped Nathaniel Wood. I'm a big Nathaniel Wood believer. And outside of, the fouls that were obvious and all the rest of it, which honestly, when you're betting on a guy, it's kind of a bit of a positive, that he's willing to cheat for your money as well. Muhammad Naimov showcased good power, and he was able to compete with Nathaniel Wood on all frontiers. And Nathaniel Wood is about as good as you can get outside of the top 15 in any of the divisions. So Kaan Ofli, not only did he look bad, but I am also a Muhammad Naimov believer. So on both sides of this here, I'm all over Muhammad Naimov. And it's not about the price because I just look at this matchup. Who do I believe is going to win? Muhammad Naimov has all the tools to win this. Kaan Ofli is short. He showcased absolutely nothing against Myron Santos except for an ability to eat leg kicks, a failure to take takedowns, and then also to get knocked the fuck out. I mean, that dude was out cold. So coming off of a vicious knockout, Muhammad Naimov in his fight against Felipe Lima would serve Kaan Ofli up on a platter as well. So I don't think that really regards to anything. Also, Felipe Lima in that time was sitting down at the end of the second round in between the third, and his coach was pleading with him, rallying with him, saying, do it for your mother. They were really trying to get Felipe Lima to do something. No, it was, and you could see that Felipe Lima seemed a little bit disheartened and didn't think that the fight was going his way. And, he was able to get very quickly behind Muhammad Naimov, find the choke. It was also kind of an odd scramble as well. It wasn't a traditional takedown or anything like that. And I think that Felipe Lima is a lot better than Kaan Ofli. I don't think you can take the logic that he submitted him, and so Kaan Ofli's going to. I'm all over Muhammad Naimov here, and I think he wins inside the distance as well.
There you go. So we're both on the same side of this. You're a little more confident than I am, but I get it. I get it. I've been getting more confident as the week goes on. There's a couple fighters I'm getting less confident in. Two that I'm notably getting more confident in. One is Muhammad Naimov. The other is Jasmine Jasudavicius. Again, when you do this and you've got thousands of people commenting and giving you their opinions, sometimes that'll influence how you feel. So I don't know if my confidence is growing on those two fighters because of outside influence or just my confidence is growing on those two fighters. But Muhammad Naimov is somebody that I'm getting more and more confident in. I do have some action on him. I could not parlay him, even though I tried. It wouldn't let me parlay him, but I still threw a little bit of cash on him. $9,000 in DraftKings Fantasy, though. I'm going to have to look at that a little closer. I do think he could potentially be worth it. He could maybe finish Kaan Ofli, but $9,000 is a good amount of money to spend. And Kaan, short little bulldozer of a guy, might just come forward, slow the pace a little bit, stay a little durable. I know he was just finished his last fight, but Muhammad Naimov, while he does hit hard, I don't think he hits quite as hard as Kaan Ofli's last opponent, but
I think in the hands specifically, I think Myron Santos actually doesn't have as much power. His striking.
You don't think Marlon Santos has? Dude, Marlon Santos.
It's Myron.
Fast
it's Myron.
and
No,
hits hard.
It's Myron Santos. No, Myron. I believe it's Myron.
Marlon, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Myron Santos. He hits decent, but his kicks and his striking fluidity, I think, speak more than his like raw power. But that's not.
I mean, that could be right. Because plenty of knockouts come from the person didn't see them coming and not necessarily the raw power behind it. But either way, Kaan Ofli was sparked in that last fight, coming a little too aggressive trying to wrestle. This fight might be different. We'll see what happens. I am going to pick Muhammad Naimov. Not quite sure on that $9,000 in DraftKings Fantasy, but if you do play DraftKings Fantasy and if you do care about DraftKings Fantasy and what that looks like, well, we have an entire suite of tools for you. We have a DraftKings Optimizer that will build lineups for you. We have the best ownership projections on planet Earth. We have everything you could ever need heading into a fight week for bets, fantasy, and everything else. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. Freaking $10 for an entire package worth of tools, insight, bets, and more.